let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well. As you can see, Socks is here, blocking me and the camera like usual. I still haven't fixed my monitor situation, so yep, here we are. All right, we're going to continue what we were doing last time, and that is essentially fixing up the unit test, writing out the unit test for the last 3 API node endpoints. And then, yeah, that'll be great. I'm looking forward to it being done because, you know, that means I can move on to other stuff. So, yeah. Straight about what we have here is we've got to fix up these unit tests. So we're hitting these particular endpoints, and what I want to do is I just want to find them very, very quickly. They'll actually be part of the tests. So this is not working. Now we've got an object node. I think we need more information than that. So I'm just going to debug what we can do very, very quickly. And I'm going to put Socks more in a shot. She likes being in a shot. There goes Socks. Yeah, I'm going to run the test server. I'm just going to go up here. We're going to go to localhost, requirement information 1, requirement item. Actually, it'll be requirement item information. Number 1. We're just going to go down here. We're going to open up this. We're just going to do that. We're going to clear all of that. We're going to go into the notes. We're just going to add in a random note. Like so, and we're just going to have a look at the data. So we've got the object note ID. Oh wait, we've got the destination, so requirement item, and location ID. So we need destination and location for. Oh, that's for updating. Alright, I am going to edit that note, and I'm going to update that note. So requirement item, we're just getting the first one, and then we're having a look at the note sections. You do not have permission to do this action, even though I'm an admin. Double checking. Yeah, I'm an admin. All right. We have an issue. This would be a bug. This is why we do unit tests. We find out bugs when we're doing the unit tests, and we fix them. So we want to go into NearBeach. We want to go into the views API. We've got the requirement item API in here. We don't want the destroy. We don't. Let's start off with the list. So let's go into here. I'm going to put a breakpoint right there, and I'm going to hit this. We should, in theory, hit that. Oh. No, it's in a different area. I'm going to remove that. This would be object data. And what we want to do is we don't want create, we don't want destroy, we want list. So we actually want to go here instead. Socks is giving everyone the biggest greasy of all time. Oh, it's okay, sweetie. She's like, oh yeah, I'm not giving it greasy. Oh, and we're currently in an ad break. I'm just going to make myself a cup of tea. I'll be right back. with the ads. Only about 10 seconds left. Here's just my headphones, sweetie. Not don't click them. And welcome back, everyone. All right, getting back into it, making sure I did the right screen. Yep. So, really sucks. So we got this. I'm just going to, it goes straight into generic permissions. I'm just going to put a breakpoint there. So we do hit this. So we do have the request. We've got the object lookup, which is requirement item. And we've got the quags. We don't have any of that. All right, so with location ID in quags, yes it is, and object lookup isn't an organization. Oh, I know, sweetie. All right, so I think I know what's happening here. Because the one problem is this object lookup will look up requirement items from the object group assignment, and there's no permissions assigned to that whatsoever. I'm just wondering, we might need a translation. I'm just going to hit play, everything will go forward. So what we need to do is, if destination is requirement item, we'll need to use the parent's data. So if this would be object lookup equals requirement item, then what we're going to do is requirement item, not request item, sorry, requirement item results equals requirement objects. We're just going to use a get where the PK equals the location ID, which will be a part of the quags. So that will be quags location ID. Easy done. I'm happy with that. You might be wondering what happens now. Well, we change everything. So object lookup equals requirement. So we simplify it now. And then the location, we are using location ID in quags. All right. That will be a requirement item results, and then that will be just the requirement ID. Now up here, what we're going to do is I'm going to set the location ID. And that's just going to be location ID equals the quags, location ID, sweet. And then I just need to replace this up here. Oh, not quite. He's done. So I don't. With 032, I'm going to have a look in the permissions to see if I could do this a lot better. Just because we'll have quite a lot of child components, and it might be the case that we sort of split how this method is. Yeah, we'll have to deal with how this process is done. I'm not liking this at all. I don't like how I just mutate the values and so forth like that. I feel like I can do this in a better way. It's just something I got to investigate. That's all. So that should now just work because we got that translation layer in. If I hit refresh, stop and rerun. Cool. And I hit refresh. Ooh, we've just got that at the moment. I'm just going to hit play, assuming everything. There we go. Perfect. So our unit tests found that we could potentially have an issue. So what I'm doing is I'm just rerunning them to make sure that issue is still there. If it isn't, cool, we move on. Ooh, we have found a couple of issues, but not a problem. We'll let it run to completion. 2's a lot better than what we had. So, yeah. Now we just play the waiting game. Yeah, how's everyone going? Hopefully everyone's going well. It's finally warming up here, which is nice. Hopefully you guys are having lovely weather. So, yeah. All right, it's almost complete. There it goes. So we've got 2 fails at the moment. So we've got a couple of 400s, which usually just mean I've done a bad form. Highly likely, let's not lie. So we've got requirement 2. I'm just going to go over into our test cases. There's somewhere in here. So I'm just going to go up here. So it's saying when I update requirement 2, we're getting a 400 error. All right. Let's go over here. I'm going to bump that off to the right side so you guys can see. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Requirement item priority is required. So we're just missing a field. That's easy done. We'll go into here. We'll get it fixed up very, very quickly. So that's requirement item priority. We're just going to do it as a 1. We know 1 exists, and I do believe we've got to do that up there too with the puts. Now we might need to do that with the creates also. Oh no, we don't, because you don't set the priority straight away. You set the priority after you create stuff. Now the story points is another factor too, which is missing, and I think they're called requirement item story points. I'm just going to keep that as a 1. All right, let's bump over here. Let's hit the run again. No, we failed. I'm just going to cancel because I know the rest of it will work perfectly fine. So let's see what data we need. I'm just going to the front. I'm just going to bump that off to the left again. Oops, didn't click the button properly. Just going to hit that. I'm going to hit update, and we're just going to have a look at the request. So we've got requirement item title, requirement item scope, requirement item status, which I do believe we have. Yep. Requirement item type. We do have. Requirement item priority, which we do have, and requirement item story point. Put plural. All right, cool. So in NearBeach, all the field names and variable names are in the singular case, no matter what. And that's just to stop the confusion with having plurals. We don't want people being like, ooh, is this going to be a plural or not? If we just hardline it and be like, no, there's going to be no plurals whatsoever. Yeah. All right. Now I just got to wait again. The joys of doing testing. Yeah. All right, I do believe it has passed all those tests now, so I'm quite happy. We can then move on to, yep, there it goes. So 96 tests. We can then now move on to the other unit tests that we've got to create. So I want to go back over here with the coverage report. I want to go /API. I'm just going to have a look at all of these. And then I'm going to open up the ones that it's just 2 of them. So we've got the sprint link view set, which we haven't checked for yet. Yeah, we haven't done any of this. And we haven't done any of that. So not a problem. Yeah, let's get started. I'm going to actually push up my code first. So git status, we've got the decorators. Yeah, we added that in. We've got the test API. Yep, and we've got the views. All right, cool. Git add, git commit. Implementation of the, this would be the requirement item API unit tests. Okay, so from here, what we want to do is we actually want to create those tests. I'm going to minimize everything. We're going to open up NearBeach. We're going to close everything. Close other tabs. We're going to, yeah, just close that. Close that. All right, we're going to open up NearBeach. We're going to open up tests. We're going to open up the test API, test user permissions. We've got the test API admin user. And then what we're going to do is, I'm just wondering if we've actually got stuff in here. All right, so we've got the request for change. I don't know if we've got the sprint data in here, so I'm definitely going to put it after the sprint data. So this will be def test API sprint link data, and it's part of self, and we've got a data list. Oops. We'll fill that out in a second, and then we'll have a self.run the tests. I'm just going to we're just going to go sprint link. Just to make that look nice. And we're going to have a look at the code very, very quickly. So in here with this and Swagger 2. Socks. No standing on the mouse. All right, so we got the sprints already. Those are just the 2 sort of stuff. That's just the object data, valuable data. If we go down here, we've got the sprint, and then we've got the link stuff down at the bottom. So we've got to get, we've got to post, we've got to get for a single link. Method not used. don't know why it's showing up there then. Yeah, I would have thought that. Anyway, doesn't matter. So we've got this. We haven't written much in here. Oh, this is bad of me. It's part of the sprint link. Yeah, sprint link view set. And then we've got requirement item API. Oh, we've just done that one. Sprint link view set. Yep, all right, cool. Static method, description. This is the endpoint like any object to the current sprint. This object links are, all right, cool. So we've got the create. Oh yeah, we just haven't done the documentation at all. So we've got method not used. Because yeah, we had to put it in there. And I might quickly look up the documentation, how to what is the documentation? That would be the Django Swagger Spectacular. Remove end nodes from documentation. Can I exclude specific paths? Exclude equals true. All right. Ooh. All right. Hopefully that will work. I'm going to keep the description in there just in case, because it's perfectly fine just having that. And then when someone comes along, they're like, oh, okay, method. Yeah, cool, sweet. But yeah, this is bad that I haven't actually written in any of the documentation up here or here. So this is the endpoint links an object to the current sprint. This object, the links are da da da. All right, cool. That's definitely with the create. The destroy, we'll have to figure that one out with the documentation. That shouldn't take too long for us to do. Famous last words, of course. And the list should be really easy to put that in. Yeah, so those will be some quick fixes to this. Yeah, we might as well do that right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at the Note API stuff, because that's very similar to this in the sense that it's sort of disconnected. Gathers a list of notes. All right, cool. I'm gonna copy those. There's a list of gathers all object links associated with this sprint. Hang on, a list of all. Oh no, this is destroying. This will destroy a object link to the current sprint. Sweet. Parameters, all right. Let's hit the list. All right, I'm trying to remember how this is gotten. Let's have a look at this. So let's list everything. This is delete the sprint object assignment ID. ID can be gathered from the list. All right, cool. I think that's it for that. We're keeping it short, I understand. We can always expand these documentation later. I just need feedback. So we've got the destroy, now we've got the list. I'm just going to copy that. I should have really copied what I had before. That was quite good with the list. Gathered a list of all object links associated with the current sprint. Cool, easy done. That's pretty much it. Parameters. You just need the sprint ID. That's it. I don't think we need to expand that documentation anymore. Method not used, method not used. I think that's it. That's pretty much it. Oh, wait, we did do create. Yeah. All right, so what do I want to do? Let's write our unit tests. So with the sprint link, we want to test, once again, I go over here. We want to test the get, we want to test the post, and we want to test the delete. That's it. So get, post, and delete. So I'm just going to put it in here, get, post, and delete. We'll reference that. So with the get, what we're going to do, self URL test. We're just going to go API version 0, sprint 1, and then we're just going to go list. We don't need anything. We're expecting a 200, and this is a simple get. He's done. And we'll do this with 2 sprints. And that's about it for that. And then we're not too worried about the 404s and stuff like that at the moment. However, it is something we should test for. I can always do that and do that. Now I've just realized that we've got to have something like that, and then these are also making sure that we won't worry about the forward movements. All right, cool. Won't worry about it. Oh, we are. I do have it in the code up here. There you go. Check to make sure. Otherwise, 404. I'm just gonna do it. It's fine. In reality, this is just. This is just checking for permissions. When when we want to test functionality and so forth like that, we'll write a different test class and so forth like that. So there'll be one dedicated for projects where you essentially try and find a project that exists, a project that doesn't. Cool. You'll save to a project and all that kind of fun stuff, which you want to do more testing against. In this sort of case, we're just testing permissions. We just need the 400s and so forth like that. We don't need much more information. So yeah, all right. So now we just need to do the post. This will be self.url test, and then we've got API version 0. Let's do sprint 1. We're going to go a list. We are then going to put in some data. It gets 201 is creation, and then we do a post. Now I need some data with that one, so I'm just going to have a quick look in here. So description, the endpoint links an object to the current sprint. The object's links are those particular ones. All right, cool. The destination, the parent object of the sprint. So if it's a project or, ooh. We don't have that anymore with, all right. Sprint ID, yeah, we just have sprint ID. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm getting rid of this to stop confusion. So we've got parameters, object type, the object type is requirement item, project or task. All right, cool. I'm going to do that. Easy done. That's just to be very clear that the object type will equal one of those. And then the object ID, the ID of the object or of type we currently are trying to link. All right, so in here, we'll have, do this on a new line, we'll have object type is going to be, we're going to go from top to bottom, requirement I type request. And then object ID is going to be a 1. We've got access to it and so forth like that. I'm just going to copy those 4 lines. We're just going to paste that. And then we're going to paste that again. And now I'm going to change the type. I'm just going to go project. And I'm just going to go task. Now, in theory, someone could potentially add in an object that they don't really have access to. That's going to be perfectly fine. And Chib Alzook, welcome. How are you going? Hopefully you're going well. I think it's evening in Australia. Good evening. Yes, it is. It's 7:15 where I am. So yeah, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content tonight. So yeah, and we've just hit an ad break. I don't know if you got ads. But we do this during ad break anyway. Whoop, nearly dropped the ball. Quite literally. Yeah. Where's Socks? Where are you? Oh, alright, she's over there. Yeah, I'm hoping 10:15 a.m. here. Oh, fair enough. You're doing fine. That's good to hear. Yeah. So it's finally warming up in Melbourne, which I have been complaining about the cold for well over a month now. I'm just over the cold, really. I think it's because I didn't take a holiday this year. Oh yeah, I competed back in 2019. Such a long time ago. Had more hair on my head back then. Got the landing strips going. Starting to get cold here in France. I have a jacket indoor. Ooh, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I've stopped wearing my dressing gown on stream. So, that was a something I would usually wear. I sadly only got single pane windows here. I'm hoping to upgrade them soonish, so fingers crossed. So yeah, and welcome back everyone. Let's get back into it. All right, so I'm happy with all of those. I'm going to yank the 12 lines and then I'm going to jump down 12. And I'm just going to paste these in, and then I'm going to do this for sprint 2. And that crash and bang in the background you're hearing is Socks taking on a fly. You can ignore it. She'll eat it. Quite literally, she will eat it. So, yeah. I'm not going to worry about the delete stuff in this particular test case, mainly because I'm going to pull it out, put it somewhere else. The one reason being is with these tests, it's hard to know if you've mutated the database in the correct way. So what I would like to do is create a fixture that deals with just deleting, and then I can just go through and just delete the data, and then after deleting all the data, I can check to make sure all that data is deleted, make sure people aren't getting those results and so forth like that. And we can also at the same time then check to the user permissions and so forth like that. So yeah, don't sit on the keyboard. Yeah, once again, this particular file is mainly dealing with user permissions. So yeah, and there's the Socks, everyone. So yeah, she likes to stand in front of the camera because she's more important. However, she still thinks the camera's above the monitor, which it isn't at the moment. I've got to fix the monitor layout. So all right, so we should have the sprint links tested. So if I'm just going to do this. We'll just quickly run those. Oh yeah, that issue with the bucket. All right, I can fix that very, very quickly. I just don't have my Docker container running. That's all. So they all failed. That's fine. This is why we test. All right, we are getting a 404. So I can't find this. Not too much hairball. Oh, the hairballs are coming. The hairballs will come, yeah. There's also times where she'll just lose clumps of fur during spring. So yeah, that will happen. The difference between her winter coat and her summer coat is night and day. She will definitely lose a lot of this fur and have a lot of fur balls too. So we're getting a 404. Once again, every single time I do unit tests, I find something I've broken, so I'm not too fussed. Oops, sucks your tail. So we're just going to go to sprint 1, and then we're just going to go to link. So we do have a couple of links in here. Sweet. So we do have data. I'm just wondering if we've deleted the data by mistake. Socks. Now that's a number 2, that's a number 1. Let's just go through. I could have also done this wrong. And I think I have. I think I put list. Yeah, I put list. That's meant to be link. All right, easy fix. All right. So I'm just going to hit run again. knowing that I've done something silly. All right, we don't have any fails at the moment. This is the joy of waiting for unit tests. It just takes a while. Isn't that right, Socks? You're like, yeah, I should get pants whilst this is going on. All right, all done. So I'm just gonna go git status. So I'm gonna do that again, but with a clear screen. All right, so we've made 2 changes. Yeah, we're happy with that. Git commit. And then there's 2 things that we've done. So we have implemented unit tests for, this would be for the sprint links, and updated the Swagger documentation. And hey, how are you going, Hansel Dev? How are you doing today? Hopefully you're going well. Yes, I am doing good. Thank you very much for asking. We are very close to essentially stating that we can start working on 032. Very, very close. We don't have any critical bugs or major bugs. We have done a shakeout test. We have essentially implemented unit tests for nearly all the API so far. So yeah, I'm getting happy. And then, yeah, we can start doing other stuff. We will still be building out the API in 031. There will be some changes with 032, but we'll get to that hurdle when we get to that hurdle. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of redesign in NearBeach when we hit 032. All right, so I'm just gonna close these tabs. We're gonna go in here. Now, we did send a push up before, and I'm gonna jump onto that push that has run successfully. This one will take a while. We won't bother. What I'm doing is I'm going to the artifacts, going to the index. We search for API in here. And then what we want to do is we want to find a very low number with the API. And we've got the sprint link API view. That's the one we've just done. So we've done all of those. Here's another one, the object sprint. All right, sprint link API view. Yeah, it's the object sprint API view. So this is with creating the sprints themselves. So yeah, we've got to create and we've got to list. All right, so getting back into it. Let's try and remember where this source code is. Let's find the source code first. There we go, it's right there. Perfect. So in here, we've got the static method. Yep, that's just getting the whole entire list of everything and returning it for us. Actually, this might not be, oh no, it's with create. So just create a Kanban card against the Kanban board. No, that's not right. Units are doing great. Oh, thank you. Yeah, cheers. Thank you very much, Hansel Dev. So yeah, try and be chill. Yeah. I clearly make mistakes. So create sprint against the current destination. We'll put a full stop there, and then parameters, destination, the type of object you're querying must be one of. Oh yeah, I just copied and pasted and never really did this properly, did I? This is terrible of me. So we've got object data, we've got the sprint. Object sprint view set. Oh yeah, there's the... But yeah, I just never did the create properly. Create the... Alright, so you can only... The parent object type that you want to connect to. Alright, cool. So that can only be those two items. So you can only connect a sprint to a project and a requirement. The unique ID of, alright, down here, what we want to do is I'm just going to go location ID. The ID of the parent object. Okay, and then we just get location ID. Yeah. And then those were correct. Or am I completely and utterly wrong? Get object sprint list. Yeah, let's see. Okay, list all the sprints currently connected to the object. All right, project editor. This is getting serializer is object sprint serializer. Let's go to that implementation. So we've got the complete story points, start date, and sprint ID, sprint name, and all of that. So yeah, this is definitely creating a sprint. And then we save that data. Yeah, we're just getting in those 3 extra fields. And then we get what we need. Send it back. All right, cool. I just mucked up the documentation. I should have a look at the Kanban stuff right now. List all, yep, all right, cool. Post, create a Kanban board, yep, all right, cool. Open up the board. Yep, delete, yep, that's fine with the cards. Yep. Yep. There might be none of those. All right, cool. Yeah, I've probably copied it from somewhere and forgot to update it. That's all. That's all. All right, so this is part of the Object Sprint API. So we're going through. We're all happy with. I'm assuming we're all happy with that. We're going to. Go in here. object sprint API. Yeah, we're just going to try and think what we can do. Yeah, I'm just going to create it after this. All right, cool. Def test API object sprint API data, and then we've got the self. We want the data list. Easy done. I will put that in. So that will be the object sprint. And then, yeah, we just got to do the self-run tests. Put that up there. And then we'll do the self URL test. So we are hitting, this will be object sprint. So it'll be this. We've got the get and the post. Okay, don't sit on the keyboard. All right. So what I want to do, API will start off with requirement, do one, and then we'll do it's just an object sprint. That will get everything that we need. And we should do project. Oops. Oop. So that should handle all the gets. We now need to do a couple of posts. So we'll hit requirement 1 again. We'll put that. And then that should be 201 and post, or is it 204? I think 201. Now, why has it done it like that? I don't understand. And then I'll do it like that, and then I'll do it like, that's probably why. All right, cool. Cool, got there. So, having a look at the data, we've got the destination location, that's in the URL. Oh, those are for the get. For the post, we've got the destination, the location ID, which is up here in the URL. We've got the sprint end date and the sprint start date, and then the sprint name. So we'll have sprint end date, do something like that. Sprint start date, we'll do something like that. And then sprint name is going to be sprint test. Easy done. I am going to do it like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to Python 3 manage test. I just want to see this work. If it doesn't work, it means I can tweak all of this before I actually copy and paste this to do a lot of data. Ah, it didn't work. So, what didn't work? Okay, status code. We got 405. Okay. that means I've got something wrong on the form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here. We're going to create a sprint. So we're just going to go over here. We're just going to go find, actually, we'll go to the parent object. Go back to the requirement. We're going to scroll down. I'm just going to click on that. Don't worry, I know I'm doing this off to the side. I'm just creating a new sprint. Those default values will be fine. And one thing that I completely and utterly forgot is it'll actually take you to there straight away. So I'm going to do that again. We're just going to create a sprint. Just going to create it. There it goes. There it is. So in here, we're going to have a look at the Never sent out the freaking data back. Oh, that was rude. All right, I am gonna remove persistent logs. That's fine. What we'll do, we'll go back over into the API. We'll have a look at, let's say, a requirement. Let's go 1, and then we'll go object sprint. And there's all of our stuff there. So yeah, we've got the sprint name, we've got this, we've got that. The status, those are auto-generated. I mean, I could have a look at Postman to see if we've actually got what we did in there, because we should have manually tested this. Going over here, we're going to go into object data, object sprint. We've got the post. I'm going to remove that. Yeah, we've got the sprint start date, sprint end date, sprint name. Those are the fields that we've got. But it's still saying 405. I'm gonna just send this off. Invalid token. All right, yep. So what I need is authorization, inherit from parent. Oh God. What do I have for the get? Oh, it's part of the headers. All right, yep. Inherited. Yep, all right, cool. I just need a new token. That's not going to be a problem. We just go over here. We just open up this. I'm just going to... You need to actually go to the users for this particular one. So I'm just going to pick the admin user. We are just generating a new key. There we go. Just because I don't know the key off the top of my head. I will eventually update this whole entire Postman thing. Hang on a minute. Did you save? No. Copy. Paste. What the? All right, the pain is real. So... yeah, that's all I need to do. Sprint end, sprint start, sprint name. And this is with a post. So we do have sprint end date, sprint start date, sprint name, probably the times. So what I'm going to do, just to stop it from being an issue, I'm going to do that. We'll probably find another time stamp in here and probably use that if even these don't work. I'm just gonna run it now. No, didn't work. All right. I'm just going to have a look for a project. Because the projects will actually have the start date and end dates on them. So we've got the customers, we've got the Kanban boards, we're all fine with that. Kanban cards, we're fine with that. They don't have any dates on them anyway. The organization data kit, we're fine with that. Here's the project. So I'm just going to copy this. And we're just going to scroll all the way down to down here. We're just going to paste that in. Easy done. We know that these date times should work. I'm hoping I don't have any other bits data in here, which is a bit weird. So we've got the project and then we've got the, so in here, we've got the pro one. That's it. I had the wrong URL. How's the sunlight? All right, how we're going. Looks like it's working. So I'm just gonna stop it there because yeah, it failed a lot sooner for this particular one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're just gonna copy those. I don't know why it's doing that lately. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, hang on. Alright, I shouldn't focus too much on that. Alright, so the next one we want to do is project for the ones, and then we're going to do the twos. And we've just hit an ad break. Alright, cool. Give me a couple of seconds. Alright, ad time. Oh, Socks is knocked over. There we go. There's, not disco. Shoot, which one? Bin Chicken. We named it Bin Chicken. All right, I don't know why the styling is absolutely balked at the moment. Yeah, it's so now I don't live in Sydney, but I'm totally nicking this from Sydney. So Sydney Bin Chicken is an ibis. So they're the Australian white ibis. Bump that off to the right side. Oh, you guys can't see this. Shoot. All right, no problem. There we go. So we're still at ad time, so it doesn't matter if we fool around here. So yeah, they're notorious for getting into bins and stuff like that. There we go. Perched on a wheelie bin in Potts Point, Sydney. So, yeah. A little bit of Australia culture there. And yeah, I named the rubber duck after bin chickens. So, you know. All right, so this is requirement one. So we're just going to test this on a couple of places. Now, for the admin user, they can do this without any issues. So we've got it like that. Yeah, that should work. All right. So we're now posting, and the delete process will happen in a different way. All right, we just got to wait for this to do its thing now. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to disable the other methods. The reason being is they're not actually really needed. So yeah, in this sort of case, it lists and creates. Just like what it says on the Swagger. So yeah, it just lists and creates. So we're just going to put those up. We're going to do what we did with the other one and be like, yeah, this method ain't going to be used. So yeah, we're going to be very explicit about that. All right, that requires me going in here. Now, what was the other one we just did before? That one was sprint link. Yeah, we just did something like that. So you don't need to retrieve, you don't need to update. And you don't need to destroy, because destroy is done in a different way. So we've got the create. We don't have to destroy, so I'm going to go extend schema. Oops. We're just going to go description. Whoop. Method not implemented. I just keep mucking up, don't I? Exclude equals true. Yeah, something's wrong with this file. And then we've got def. This is destroy, and then it will be. I'm just gonna bring this over here just for reference. Oh yeah, it's just return response. So it's return response, the status equals status, yeah, method not allowed. Yep, that's it. So there's that one. And then we've got the list, and then I'm gonna cheat, and I'm just gonna copy these. I'm just gonna paste them in. Give them that. So we've got the retrieve and we've got the update, and then cool, that's it. That's all this is required. This is working perfectly fine. So I'm gonna go git status. We're gonna go, yep, cool, git add, and then we're gonna go git commit, and then we're gonna say, what was our last commit? It was create unit tests for object sprint API. Okay, cool. Easy done. Now, if we go back here, we're going to close all of that. We're going to go back into the pipelines. We're going to hit this one. We're going to hit the back end. We're going to hit the index again. I'm just going to scroll all the way down. So we've got 72% code coverage now. And then if we do something like this, we should have, yeah, ooh. Did it not hit this? I should have hit this. Have I done something silly again? Very likely. Very, very likely. I am running the tests at the end. We do have the test API _data. We are passing the data list through. What I'm going to do it doesn't hurt. So we're going to actually see if I do hit that. Because there's been times where I've written all these tests and it just never hit it. So it is actually hitting it. So why aren't we doing that? Anyway, I'm just going to cancel that. That's fine. We're just going to delete that. We know that's hitting that. I now want to, we're going to go over here. I'm just double checking this. This is the sprint link view set. Yep. All right, cool. So it is this. I'm just going to click on that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get one of these and I'm just going to get the front end to hit it. It is hitting it. Okay, that's a bit weird. And we've still got the 45 up here and we've just done that one. But then again, once again, we'll step back. So I'm just going to click on this one. This is the latest one. It is running. We expect it to finish very shortly. And what we're going to do is just waiting for it to do its thing. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at this particular file and see, all right, cool. Did I accidentally click on one before that hadn't been completed? Can happen. All right. Ooh, I nearly sat on myself. There we go. That's just doing its thing. I should also go over here with the Swagger. I should hit refresh. We should get the latest documentation through, so some of those fixes will be done. I will need someone to go through at a later date to point out anything that doesn't make any sense or something that's just absolutely incorrect in here. Because, yeah, I want to get this correct. All right, let's see if it's done. Is it done? No, it's still running. All right, that's gonna take a lot longer than what my computer runs it on. That's perfectly fine. All right. Okay. My phone's going off like there's no tomorrow. Why are you going off? Okay, that's good news. All right, awesome. It has just run. So we're going to go to the artifacts. We're going to go index. Sorry, like these times where I've got to wait for things to run. I don't know how to fill the void. I will get better. We're happy with those permissions. We're just going to go through. Yeah, we've got 90, 82, 82. So I'm quite happy with all of that. So if we actually click into one of these with the tasks and stuff like that, you can see that it's not hitting these particular lines because we're not testing for bad requests and stuff like that. I mean, if we were going to do that, we would create our own test classes for that specific case. Yeah, we would split it out and so forth like that. Once again, we're only testing permissions at the moment, and then we'll, as time goes on, we'll be testing a lot of this. All right. Sorry, I'm just moving my shoulder around. Okay, so I'm quite happy. Let's go back to the index. Let's search for these. We don't have anything smaller anymore. We've got the group and user view API once again. We're not worried about that. We're not worried about that just yet because we're just testing permissions only. So the next thing we want to do is, if I close everything, close up the tabs, I'm just going to close everything, and we're going to open up this. There's two things that we've got to do moving forward. One is we're going to copy this whole entire test case and do it for a team leader. We've got to do it for, when I'm saying team leader, that's just at NearBeach's internal definition of when everyone has a certain permission. Once again, the permissions are different, customizable. So someone who doesn't have system admin rights, and we need to test with a read-only user, and someone with no access whatsoever. So if they don't have access, then they don't get, they don't get access to this whatsoever. So the reason why I spent so long doing the admin one is because we can copy and paste this, and all we need to do is change the login details up here, and then just change the 200s to something appropriate along here. Now, oh yeah, we are starting to use, oh yes. Oh, but that's for getting, not posting. All right, cool. Once again, these we don't need to test for. The 301s. If I were to test those, I would essentially, what would I do? I'll do it once again in a new test class. So yeah, in this sort of case, let's not test this. Yeah, it's not needed. Not in permission tests. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy and then I'm going to paste. However, I'm going to put it in as team leader. Going to add them in, and then it's going to be the team leader user. Now, if I run this right now, what's going to happen is it's going to fail a lot. The reason being is the team leader won't have access to those particular properties, so objects and so forth like that. So there's a lot of objects team leader doesn't have access to. As you see, we're just seeing Fs across the board. I'm just going to cancel that. We don't need to actually see any of that sort of code. I kind of know which properties, which location IDs and destinations that user won't have access to because I've set it up in a particular way. So what we want to do is I'm going to open up a new, oops. Let's go into localhost. I'm going to log out. I'm going to make sure that I am the team leader. Cool, I am. I'm going to go to the API, version 0. We're going to go, for example, project 1. There we go. We've got a, you do not have permission for this action. And if we actually have a look at the, let's go all network tab, we got 403. Easy done. So, in this particular one, what I want to do is I want to find, so the customer list, these should be fine. The customer lists, yep, they should all be fine. We're just going from the top down. Available data, customer list. Oh, all right. So available data, sprint list. That's going to be a 404. Oh, I don't know about that one. I don't know if it's like we can't find it or you don't have permission. Available data, sprint list. Oh, it's a 404. It doesn't exist. Okay, cool. Yep, we're happy with that. 405, that's method not allowed. We've got the tag list stuff. All right, cool. I'm happy with that. The coffee stuff, that should be fine. Customer stuff, this person will have access to everything with the customers. The Kanban board data, now this is where things get different. So that will be a get. Oh, what am I doing there again? Oh, I'm posting data to it. Yeah, that'll be fine. That's they'll have access. This one they don't have access to, so this will be 403. And then definitely 403 for that one, and then 403 for this one, and then that's a 403. Now, do we have another Kanban board? So Kanban board, we're just going to go number 2. Yes, we do. I need to actually copy these. For number 2, they'll have access. Actually, just wait. I'm just going to undo what I've done. Then I can copy that. Then I can paste it in. And then I can update the 2s here. And then I can go 403 again. Easy done. That's for the groups and users and all that. Yeah, once again, we'll move the deletes out of here, because I'll create my own fixture that has a lot more data in it. So we'll end up just deleting from that. Yeah, that's the best way of doing this. All right, Kanban card. So Kanban board, they won't have access to this, so 403. 403. 403. Actually, I don't know if that's a 404 or 403. I think because the permissions get handled first, it is going to be a, oops, 403. Yeah, it's a 403. So the decorators kick in first. So yeah, definitely 403. That one will be 404. That one should be fine. Kanban board 1, that will be a 403. And then this one for Kanban 2, 202. Yeah, all right, cool. Yep. Kanban 1, that's going to be a 403. You don't have permission for that whatsoever. And that's also correct. This should be moved somewhere else because once again, we're testing permissions here. So I'm going to actually do that. I'm just going to remove it because that note is correct. That should actually be in its own test class. And same with this one. This is Kanban board 2. This is updating something. That will be an instant 403. That will be a 200. Yep, that will be fine. So we've got 400s for those. And then, yeah, I'm gonna delete those. Once again, we're gonna move the delete into its own thing. So that uses it. So yeah, we'll have a fixture where it just deletes data. And I don't need to worry about creating that data, getting that number, then deleting that number. Yeah, it's going to be a mess if I do it like that. So that one's fine, or should be fine now. So with the organization, that should, once again, this needs to be moved somewhere else. These actually don't belong here. It's good to test for the permissions. But once again, this is just a permissions thing. This isn't actually testing the functionality. And when we do that, we've got to sort of write our own tests. All right, so test API, project data. So we've got project data. So project, yep, that will be fine. Yep, the post will be fine. This one will be a 403. The user doesn't have access to that one. That one will be 200. That will be, again, we'll move that out of here because we don't want to test for that in here. So this one will be a 403. 200, and then this one will be, yeah, easy 403. That's just updating something. That's just, yep, that's just creating that connection. This will be a 403. So yeah, we do one of these tests just to test the permissions. But yeah, we'll have a test class that goes into this in depth. Where we can have little scripts being like, all right, cool, I created that. I then get the data back from the back end. The data's got this and that, and then I can put things, yeah. So we can create, read, update, and all that kind of fun stuff. We can do the CRUD, yeah. We can do the CRUD in one giant test. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna delete that note. So straight away, 403. That one should be 200. Yep. URL test. That is gonna be 403. That one's gonna be a 201 with created. We're not going to worry about the deleted stuff. All right, cool. Note tests project. Yep, that's going to be a 403. That's going to be a 200. That's going to be a 403. It's going to be 201. That's going to be a 403. That's going to be a 200. 403. Once again, delete. We're getting rid of that. That's perfectly fine. So yeah, we're getting there. If I do the quick tests for this, we should see a lot less failures. So, yep. Still got heaps. We've still got a big document to get through. I think that's less. I don't know. We'll find out in a minute. We'll get all the way to the end before I rerun it, just because, yeah, there's going to be a lot changed. Oh, no. That's a 201. That's a created. That's a 403. That's a 200. 204. That'll be a 403. With that, and then that will be a 403. That will be that, and then that will be a 403. That'll be fine. Once again, this is just testing permissions. That one will be a 403. That will be a 403. Hey, Socks, how are you doing? You're getting your butt scratched. You're like, yeah. All right, Link. Once again, we're getting rid of all the deleted stuff. We're just putting them in their own sort of thing. We'll still need to test the note permissions in here and so forth like that. That's perfectly fine. I'm not complaining about that. But we're not going in depth into this. We're just testing the endpoints are working how we want them to. And it might be a case that we sort of extend out the current fixture. Okay, that one will be fine. That one won't be. That will be a 403. That one will be fine. That one will be a 403. Requirement item 2 is a 200. One is going to be 403. That's going to be a 403. It's going to be a 403 because that will be connected. Yeah, that's going to be connected to thing. How do we delete links? Yeah. We're just getting rid of that. The note, that will be a 403. That'll be 200. URL test requirement up. Yep, that's 403, 201. Whoops. Okay, 403. So we're getting mostly through it now. Okay, and I know that there's going to be an ad break any second now. So that's just creating requests for change. Requests for change. Ooh, good point. What? So I've only got access to number 2. So this request for change, that's going to be a 403. Number 2 is going to be perfectly fine. That's a 200. Request for change 2. Yep. Request for change 1. That's going to be a 403. That's also going to be a 403. That's going to be fine. That's going to be a 403. Let's move on. It's going to be 403. That's going to be fine. It's going to be 403. I believe this one hits the permissions first, so 403. This one is going to be 403. That one's going to be 403. I think this is going to be a 403. Actually, once again, these are the delete, so we're just going to remove them. We're going to put them in their own function and test that way. All right, with the sprint 1, that's going to be a 403. So there definitely is a pattern here where I've purposely gone ahead and made sure that, oh, we've got an ad break, shoot. Make sure that the objects with an ID of 1 are assigned to the admin. I've purposely done that. And then objects 2 are assigned to everyone else, and so forth like that. So just makes doing the unit tests a lot easier when you have a fixture set up like that. Yeah. When we build the delete fixture, we're going to have to build it and then look up the data and double check. Yeah, it's going to get more complicated. So, yeah. Hopefully doing it this way works. All right, how are we with the ads? And welcome back, everyone. All right, so sprint 2, yep, happy with that. Ooh, are you okay there, Socks? What are you doing? Sprint, that's just creating one. It's just creating one. Just creating one. Yep, yeah, we're fine with those. As usual, we'll be able to create one. Yep. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to do all of that. That's perfectly fine. And then the sprint 1, that's going to be 403. Sprint 1. Sprint 2 is fine. This will be 403. Sprint 2, sprint 1 is going to be 403. All right. We're down into this side. We're almost at the bottom. Almost. We're getting there. All right, sprint 1. And then I think it bumps to sprint 2. Yep, all right, cool. Requirement. Object sprint, this will be a 403. This will be a 403. Those will be fine. Creating against a requirement, that will be a 403. That'll be also a 403. That one will also be a 403. This is where we get our weird shapes. I don't know why I did this. Actually, no, that's a requirement 2. Sorry, that's going to be 201. And now we're down to the task. So creating should be fine for this particular user. URL test. Task 1, that's going to be a 403. That's going to be a 403. Sorry, Socks, but your tail is in the way. That's going to be a 403. That will be a 403. Groups and users. Yep, that will be 403. That will be fine. Right, so yeah, let's screw that out. Alright, so close to the end. So close. Actually, I'm going to undo that because that should be a 2. And then that'll be a 403. And then we get rid of the deleted. And then that will be a 403, and then that will be fine, and then that will be a 403, and then that will be 200. Yep, that will be a 403. Almost there. That will be 200, and then that will be a 403. Actually, delete. We're removing those. Once again, going to do them in their own class. All right, and that just this is a test. I believe This user should not have access. Yeah, it does not have access. So these are all going to be 403s. And we want to make sure this user does not have access to these. All right, cool. I am going to clear this. I'm going to run it. Let's hope for the best. We're probably going to have a couple of fails in here. So what's going to happen is we'll have a look at those fails, see if I put in the wrong, oh, that's a lot more than a lot. So, yes. Okay, my phone's going off like there's no tomorrow. Okay, so put my phone down, it just rang again. Let's go through this. So we've got a 200 does not equal 403 whenever we visit the URL tasks2. Right. Yeah, let's just find it. This would be part of the team leader one. That's a 403. That's a put. Yeah, I've just done a silly thing. That should be a 201, or did we say? No, that's a 200. Oh yeah, it's a 200 because there's a put. So yeah, I've made a little mistake. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll all the way up to the top. Oh, I can't do that, something like that. All right, cool. We've also got that one, sprint ID. Ooh. Team leader user, all right. So I'm having a look at this one. The method is post. We should not have access to that sprint. So I'm just going to go copy. I'm going to paste it in. We do not have permission for this particular action. All right, cool. Should be a 403s. There's our data object, so task and object ID. All right, so we're definitely doing this wrong. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to open up this. I'm going to open up NearBeach where we want views. This is part of the sprint link. So we want the API and then we want the sprint link API. And in here, exactly what's gone wrong. Well, that's static methods and stuff like that. Yeah. This is why we test. We don't need to place it on that. Hopefully that will knock off a bunch of them. Maybe not. We'll figure out in a minute. I'm just going to cancel. I'm going to fix those ones first. So we've got a 400. And that is when adding in that object type task, status code, oh, why do we have a 400 there? Because we should be doing that elsewhere. So I'm just going to go over here. We should have the links up here. Those are that. We should have the sprint links. Maybe not. Oh, that's annoying. All right. Oh wait, that would be destination. All right, hang on. That would be, that's definitely this. So if I go into here, we go into up here and I just go send. We've got an invalid token, not to worry, we'll just create a new one. I'm gonna duplicate this tab, minimize that. I'm also gonna start standing up. I've been sitting pretty much all day. I'm just over it. All right. Oh, that's way too low. Come on. Sweet. Oops. Okay, so what I want to do is, oh yeah, I've got to create the, can't do it from here. So I need to jump in as the admin. I want to go to users. We want to go to team leader. We've got the team leader in here that they've already got an API. Attach them, and that's fine. I just don't know it, so we're just going to copy it. I'm going to go all the way over to Postman, and I'm going to paste it in here, and I'm just going to hit send. So this worked perfectly fine. If I change that to task 1 link, and then I hit that, that's what I should see. So if I go sprint, oh. Yeah, that's not what's meant to be happening. Okay, so we have an issue with the permissions here. This is part of the object data link. So object data, the link API. So if we scroll down, we've got the API object data permissions. If we go to that implementation, we'll go through here. It goes through generic permissions. We go to implementation. So in here, we need to do another translation tool. I'm just like, this is going to get messy in here, just having it constant. So what I want to do it's in a, okay, so what I want to pass through is the quags and yes, socks. And the current object lookup. Yeah. Easy done. So location ID is going to be that straight away. Set the default location ID. What I want to do is up here, I'm just going to go fetch. We'll have the quags and the object lookup. That's perfectly fine. And then what I want to do is I want to get rid of this. I'll come. Yes, socks. What's the matter, sweetie? So that will return location ID and object lookup. So up here we'll have location ID and object lookup equals that. All right, cool. So this function will act as an override. We can then put all of our conditions where there's a child element in here and go, all right, cool, we've got to update all this. Hey socks, what's the matter? In the future, what we could potentially do is we can write a utility to go that will just go is child object. If it's yes, we can then write another utility to get that object's parent details and so forth like that and return that. We'll have a look at the permissions again in greater detail because they have changed for the API. And come here, come on, no, you keep complaining. There, in your bed. She's like, no, I want treats. Cause yeah, I think we can do this in a better way. If object is a child object, we want to look at the parent object's permission. Easy done. So at the moment, we've just got that as a note. In here, we've got it. Yeah, so if destination, we'll need to look at the we'll return the yeah, just return the requirement. And then in here, it's as simple as just going return a requirement item results dot requirement ID followed by the object lookup, and we'll be happy with that. We're going to be using Python. Oh no, we still got to support Python 3.9. No, maybe not. It is October. So, I can do this in a case statement really easily. Are you going to jump off? No, good. She's 11. She shouldn't be jumping from high heights anymore. So this can be done in a switch statement, which, cool. We can get the stuff, we can process it very, very quickly, and we can go, all right, cool, here's the object, here's what we want pulled out of it, done. This is all we need. We can then also check for issues and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just having a quick think. But the problem is, I think Python 3.9 is still supported. All right, scrolling down. Yeah, they've still got it here, but created, yeah, that's all fine and dandy. Schedule, final release on that. They've got it to there. I'm probably going to say, yeah, that's probably going to be final. I'm going to draw the line in the sand today. So a couple of things I want to do is I want to add in a utility to be like, hey, if this is actually a parent object, then yeah, we want to return it. And then we can do a switch case in here and handle every single case in here. That's just going to be really super easy. And then we can fetch the parent details. So under utilities, we've got a few utilities in here. We've got API, we've got permissions. So is super user has permissions. Oh, will this is relevant to the API. This will be I just want to do this properly. Give me 2 seconds. Python util module. Usability, string helpers. Currently we've got a couple of, for example, we've got the enums. So these are used everywhere. We've got the permissions. Okay, object type. This is going to be static method. Actually, no, I don't need that. because it's just a method. It isn't going to be in a class. Yeah, it's just going to be very simple. It's just going to return object type in, and then we're just going to have essentially like this. We'll have requirement item, we'll have Kanban card, we'll have sprint in there because yes, it is actually a child object. What else are there? Change tasks. Sorry, socks. I'm just gonna open up the object enum. So that's the object priority. Yep, that's perfectly fine. We don't request for change enums. Oh yeah, those are just yep. Those are perfectly fine. Objects. We've got the object dictionary in here, and I'm just going to put that off to the side. I'm just for reference. Straight off the bat, I'm going to put this in alphabetical order. So we've got the change tasks. We don't have the parent in here, but that's perfectly fine. Customers aren't, projects aren't, tasks aren't, requirements aren't, requirement items are, we've got them in. Kanban boards aren't, Kanban card is, organization isn't, request change isn't, user isn't. All right, cool. And then, that sucks. Stop it. Or you go into your bed. That's pretty much it. So, all right. In here, what we want to do is, if the object is not a child object, we'll pass back the results. All right, cool. So if, and this is where we go, is child object, and we just pass through object lookup. And this is where we go not. We can just return location ID and object lookup. And that's fine. That will run very, very quickly. Then we can do our switch cases in here. But first I need to remove 3.9. So, sorry, I'm getting sick of that screen popping up when I don't click it. It just keeps popping up. It's annoying the hell out of me. So, it requires Python. Yep, 310. Oh, Django version. .4.2 needs to be greater than that. Yep, all right, cool. I'm happy with that for the moment. We just got to find it everywhere where there's 3.9 now. This will just take a little bit of time. Yeah, this also means if you're using the latest Docker versions and stuff like that, we should be on the latest version. Well, we should be using a later version of Python. Let me just have a quick check. Oh, it doesn't say. All right. Oh, I've got an ad break. All right, cool. Here we go. There's socks. She's causing trouble again. Just kicking the mouse and stuff like that. Naughty girl socks. Naughty girl. She's like, hey, 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 hey. No, naughty. All right, we are getting there. But yeah, I think if we handle this there and we do it properly, it means, yeah, it means I can get all this done. Yeah. All right, how are we going with time? About 10 seconds left. All right, cool. Socks, say hi. It's down here, Socks, down here, down here. She's like, no, I'm not looking at chat, no. All right, so going into here, we've got 310 again, 3.9 width, I think that's it. Yeah, that's the package log, resource setup, that's SVGs, that's road to knowledge, yep, SVGs. We've got, that's just coverage stuff, not in our source code, that's the view.html, view.html, there's the index.html. Yeah, that's set up SVGs, NearBeach basic setup. That's fine. That's the, yeah, cool. So should have updated that. I'm happy with that at the moment. So I'm going to close those. We are going to do switch statements now. So yeah, we're going to go Python switch case. I've never done them in Python. So let's have a look at free code camp. Bump that off to the right. Yeah, we definitely, I'll zoom in so you guys can read this. We definitely don't want to do that. I hate that. What we want to do is, definitely don't want to do that. So we've got the match, and then we've got the term, and then we've got the patterns. All right, and then the case default. So that's pretty good. All right, so down here, what we've got is we've got to match the object lookup, and then we've got the case. So we've just got to go through each child option that we stated and have a default. So change task, that is going to be, I'm just gonna, do we have object results equals change task dot objects dot get pk equals the location ID, and then the location I've just got a bad thought. What if the ID doesn't exist? How are we going to handle that? So I'm just going to go back over here. Ooh, wrong button. Going to go source VM bin activate. We're just going to go Python 3 manage shell. If we go in here and we go a up, first we got to from NearBeach.models. We've got to import everything. I'm just importing everything. We'll go a equals project.objects.get, and let's say pk equals 100. So that's going to throw up an issue. And this is, could put everything in a try catch, and then if it fails this, I'm like 403, we don't have permission. Yeah, all right. Something I got to think about when rewriting this. At the moment, it'll be fine if it errors out and stuff like that. We'll be like, yeah, that's... But we've got to decide whether or not that's a 404 or a 403. So now we already have this problem. I can't run anything at the moment because I've got issues in here. So let's fix up these issues first. So then the object lookup that will now be request for change. And then, no, don't add stuff I don't want you to add. And then I want location ID equals the object results dot request for change ID. And then we'll do the case. Yeah, I think I might need to put these through try catches. And then if something fails, we automatically go, nah, you either don't have access or it's a 404. I'm probably leaning on a 404 because if it doesn't exist, we should actually tell the user, hey, this doesn't exist. Whereas if they're trying to access it, yeah. All right, I've got to figure this out. All right, Kanban card. The object lookup will be a Kanban board, and then we'll have not what I wanted to do. Object results equals Kanban board dot objects dot get, and then pk equals location ID, and then once again, can this thing stop filling out stuff when I'm trying to tab in? And then you got the location ID equals the object results dot Kanban board ID. All right. Oh. I'm gonna delete that line, do that, and then do that. All right. And then we've got the case requirement item. We did this one just before. So the object lookup is not that. It's going to be that. Thanks. It's not going to be that. My God, stop making stupid recommendations. Let me tab in. So I'm getting really annoyed at the automatic fill in this because it's completely and utterly wrong. Equals object results requirement ID. All right, cool. Got that one right. Yep, we want that. All right. So now we want the case being the sprint. We'll have the object lookup. Ooh, we actually don't know what the object lookup is. So we need the object results first equals, and that's going to be sprint.objects.get. That's going to be that. And what we need to do is from here, will it stop trying to fill stuff out? Jesus Christ, this is pissing me off. Sorry. I'm trying to hit tab and it's filling out code. And I'm just like, this is beyond frustrating at the moment because no, that's the wrong code. And also just let me tab in so I can type code. Fuck. All right, where was I? So this could be either a requirement or a project, and we'll have to figure this one out. So in this sort of case, what we'll have is the object lookup equals, and we're going to go requirement if object results dot requirement ID is not none, else it is going to be project. And then for this, the location ID is going to equal the object results dot requirement ID if the object results requirement ID is none, else it will be object results dot project ID. And then default, or what is their default? Case underscore. Oh. It won't be a return, it'll be a raise. It's not a permission error. From Django dot no, it's not that. Django raise not 403, it'll be 400. Double checking that. Bad request. Yeah, 400. Okay. So that's going to raise an issue. Valid child object. Okay. I don't know why that has a squiggly line. Add exception base class? What? Alright. Now... yeah, we weren't using requirement item or the Kanban card in here. It's just decided to add in random stuff. Now, because we have a multitude of these, I am oh my god, let me Alright, user definitely belongs at the end. Change task belongs at the start. Object assignment belongs just after there. So, yeah. Now, that should work. Famous last words. We can actually shrink this. Oh, that just makes it in. All right, cool. Now, this is just a method. Okay, let's do a quick test. We'll go back over here. We'll hit send. Got a 400 bad request. Maybe a bad, all right, let's go back over here. Let's do that. I'm just also going to refresh the server just in case it is a problem that I've got to fix. No, all right. Let's hit send. No, this is a get. All right, I'm just going to scroll up further in the permissions. I'm just going to click on that. We're going to hit send again. And I've broken something. Okay, so we're going to sprint one link. I'm going to bring up the URLs. I'm going to minimize this in, go here. We're going to go NearBeach. We're going to go scroll down to the API one. And in here, we've got Sprint, and then we've got the Sprint link. All right, so this is going somewhere different. Now, if I go back here and I change this back to task, we now hit these permissions, and it should just work. As in, like, I don't have permission for all this. Awesome. And if I type in some really big number and I do that, it's like, all right, it says forbidden. Oh, does it actually? Give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna click on, because it's a parent one. Yeah, all right. If I do change task, yeah, it hits that. And then if I hit play, it will be like, does not exist. Oh, all right. Oh, yeah, yep, that's a 404. Oh no, 500. Ah, damn it. Yeah, because it's hitting these and it just, 500 outs. Okay, so I'll need to define the object. So I'm just having a quick think how I would actually solve all of this. All right, not a problem. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. We're going to worry about the sprint. So this should be one, this should be sprint. We're going here, we're getting all of these fields are required. That's not what we want. Because yeah, you would put all of those in here. But this is fetching stuff, so we don't want it to do that. Okay. I'm just gonna move this back to team. We're fine with that. That's working. We've got the object sprint. This is no, that's getting that. Yeah, we don't have the sprint links. Got the user. Do we? Yeah, I just never put the sprint links in. Oh, that's really annoying. All right, not a problem. I'm just going to force close tabs, close all tabs. We're not going to, just can't change this. We're not going to save anything. What we want to do is we want to go down here. We want to open up object data. We're going to open up link. We're going to modify this one again. We need to update that again. So I'm just gonna go over here, user information. We're just gonna copy it. We're just gonna go all the way over here. We're just gonna paste it in and go, all right, cool. Do a send test. We got some data for task link 2. If we do it for number 1, we've got no permission. Great. We're just gonna go sprint now. And I want to open up the Swagger. And I want to go down to the sprint section. So with the get, yeah, we don't need all of that. So I've got something wrong somewhere. We'll figure it out. But what I want to do is I want to first, so that's the sprint API, that's URLs. Here's the sprint link API. So we need to check the sprint permissions. And to do that, I'm going to put a breakpoint there. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. I think I might have the wrong permissions added. Yeah. All right. No, I know what's gone wrong, and I know how to fix it. API object. Yeah, that should be the generic one. So with the list, we're happy with this. We'll just do something like that. We'll import that in. We'll copy that. So that should be list. We'll go all the way up to the top. Stack methods, we don't want. Extended that. All right, with the create, we definitely want that as a 2. Destroy, that's definitely going to be a 3. The list, yeah, that's a 1. Those 2, yeah, that's perfectly fine. So if we go all the way up to the top, we should now get rid of those permissions. And then if we go over here and we send for the sprint, we get a 500 internal error. Kiara sprint list destination. Yeah, all right. Because yeah, if I hit that and we do that again, we're going to hit that breakpoint. We don't have the destination. We've got the sprint ID, but we don't have the destination, and this is getting annoying. This is the one problem with the permissions and stuff like that, is they're getting very convoluted. It's meant to be location ID, and this is getting really annoying. I could copy this whole entire thing. Because what we're passing through is the destination and the quargs. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to copy this. Give me a second though. What I could do is, this is part of the decorators, check user permissions. This will be part of the API. I think there is an API sprint version. So what actually happens is, if there's no request, serialize response 400 bad request. Yeah, that just sends it. Yeah, we hit that straight away. But we can add in another function in here, which will essentially be this. All right, so gonna paste that in. This will be sprint link permissions. I'm just going to delete all of that. That's perfectly fine. And then in our all right, cool. Passes. We need generic permissions passed through, so we're just going to import that. That's perfectly fine. We're passing through the request, and then the destination is quite literally going to be sprint, because it's part of the sprint. Hell, we could do a lot of the fetching of stuff here. And then the quargs, that's just got to be an object. We're going to have the location ID is going to be the sprint ID. Wow, I don't like how that looks. I'm going to have to actually sit down and really redesign these permissions. And we're on ad break at the moment. But yeah, 0 to 32, we're going to be doing that. We're going to be looking at a lot of this and being like, all right, cool. If we're using the API, these are the cases. these are the child cases that we're going to handle for, and all that kind of stuff. And it looks like in this particular case, we're not sending through the destination and location ID. So yeah, we'll need to probably have a custom permission for this particular case, which might happen on a couple of the calls. A lot of the places will use destination location to be like, all right, cool, this is the permission, this is all generic stuff, and so forth like that. But yeah, we don't have that information here. So yeah, it might be time that I extract that information out. All right, cool. Welcome back, everyone. We're getting there. This is terrible code. I will admit that thoroughly. This is a to-do, fix this terrible code. And Scotty B, how are you? I am writing unit tests. I have found a couple of permission bugs in NearBeach, which I'm fixing up at the moment, and I'm adding more complexity, sadly, to my permissions. I am going to be glad when 032 starts, because we'll be deleting a lot of these permissions, because a lot of the information will be gathered through the API. So we're only checking when the user calls on the API and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, it'll be good once I get rid of a lot of this. Let's just say that. I'll have a look at the API, see what's common, how to make it as generic as possible so it works for all of them, deal with child objects where you want to look at the parent object permissions and said, yeah, it's a mess. It's needs to be really fixed. Anyway, how are you, Scotty B? That's me just ranting at the moment. So I want to go back to the sprint lane. I just want to paste that in. We'll add it in also. Where's that little... mending a broken... Ooh, what happened? Oh, well, I'll finish reading. Stumped it on a chair. That sucks. God. Are you in like a foot cast type of thing, or... Oh. Can you walk at the moment, or... Is it limping? Ugh. Oh, that sucks. That does. Ugh. And on a trip too. Alright, I'm gonna... Alright, finally, I don't have permissions. Sweet. And I do have permissions there. Alright. Let's clean this up. But yeah, I really need to fix up the permissions with NearBeach. They're just terrible. I am going to bring down the production environment. All right, here we are. I am, as part of the API, I'm going to fix up all permissions. Decorators. All right, so currently the permission decorators are messy at best and confusing at worst. We'll need to streamline the permission checks when moving everything to the API. No cast, you limp with one of those Velcro shoes. Fair enough. But yeah, it still sucks. Hopefully it didn't ruin too much of your trip. So fingers crossed. Hopefully you were able to enjoy some of it. Because yeah, 24th anniversary. That sounds awesome. So yeah, congrats. All right, currently permissions. Yeah, this is going to be highest. This, oops, I have my cards actually locked. This at the moment, add tag. We're going to have to tackle in 32. It's not something we can do in 31 just because there's the Django side of things where we're checking the original sort of stuff. And then there's the API sort of stuff. So yeah, long healing toe is no joke. Yeah. Damn. All right. I'm going to run some more unit tests. Oh, Socks is trying to touch my arm because she's like, pay attention to me. Let's hope this works. We made glass pumpkins at the Corning Glass Museum. Ooh, highly recommend. Fair enough. I'm going to go back and plan 2 days for the museum. Oh, fair enough. That does sound actually pretty cool. All right, we've got a couple of fails. I'm going to cancel there. And we're going to try and fix up these ones. We'll probably have more permission issues. Which is going to be like, oops, sorry, Socks. I just poked Socks in the face and she's like, why did you do that? All right, so the first one is API version 1, sprint 0. So we're doing a put. We expect a 403. Yeah. Team leader. Oh, all right, this should be a 403. This should be all the way up to the top. So, all right, sprint. Yep, that's creating that's creating something. That's creating something. That's creating something. That's creating something. This one, yeah, this has got to be 403. 403. Sprint 2 is fine. Sprint 1 is not. That should be a 403. Sprint 1 is not. That should be a 403. Sprint is not fine. That should be a 403. And we're getting rid of, once again, we're just getting rid of these deleted things. Yeah, we'll wrap them in their own little test class. All right, so what else did it? I'm gonna double check all of these. So we've got the test admin. Oh, don't say I just made the changes in the test admin. Okay, but I do want to get rid of the deleted stuff. Because yeah, once again, they're going in their own unit tests. I want to go into here. Let's continue with this. That's all the test admin. This is 403. No, that should be 403. That should be, yep, 403. Yep, 403. These are all the deleted things. We'll get to that in a second. That will be 403, that will be 403, and that will be 403. So let's get to the deleted stuff. Once again, we're just deleting this. They're going to go into their own test class with their own fixture. Yay! The fixture is going to have a lot of data in it, so it's one of those things where we can just delete stuff. You know. We've got a 404. Method deleted. All right. Tell you what, and this will be part of the API test user permissions. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go up to the top and I am double checking it is all in capitals. We're not going to test for it. Yeah, I'm just gonna rip this out completely. That one's a post. That's a post to the requirement item 1. We've missed a couple. So yep, that's that. That will be 403. That will be, yeah, we just missed one. Easy done. All right, I'm gonna clear the tasks at the moment. I'm just gonna run it just to see how far we've progressed. So hopefully it's only a couple left. Hopefully it's just that many. And I am gonna let it run to completion first. All right, cool. It's just that. All right, so team leader, we expected 403, got that. So we've got your old test. Oh. All right. Let's double check to make sure. I'm just going to do that to bring them all down. So this is saying these are failing. I'm going to... Oops, didn't mean to do that one. I'm going to 403 this one. This user should be able to create sprints against objects they have access to. That should be a 403. Okay, let's do that. Now we got more errors. All right, we don't want that. Let's undo what we just did. All right. Sorry, gonna have to rerun it again. I'll get the first error and then I'll check for that. All right. The instant we get those first two Fs, I bang. All right, cool. So we've got a 403 instead of a 201. This is for API version 0 project link 1. We're going to search for that. We are just going to have a look in here. We've got a 403 for that one. We've got a 403 for that one. And then we've got a 201 for that one. So yeah, that one should be a 403. He's done. Quick fix. So that one's done, and then we've got, yeah, that one should be a 403. And that's the team leader one. Yeah, that should be a 403, not a 400. Because it checks the permission first. So what will actually jump in is it'll be like, all right, cool, that's the parent object. I'm checking the permission. If it can't find the object, that's when it will be like, all right, cool, piss off, go home. All right. happy with that. We're happy with that. And then we've got this one where it's a 404 instead of a 200. Sorry, it's in yeah, it's a 404 instead of a 200. I am thinking this one's getting created and stuff like that, so we'll just do a 2 there. That should solve that issue. That should be fine. I'm just gonna now run the tests again. Yeah, it'd be a good one to get all the tests out there. And all right, so it looks like we've got 4 more issues. So with the sprint, that's where I got to be careful. With the sprint, we want the not the admin. Oh, my scroll just broke. That's really annoying. Literally just broke then. I'm scrolling up and down, it's not clicking. It's I've got to buy a new mouse. Oh, I can't even change desktops that way. Damn it. All right. So destination requirement, location. We've got a 403 instead of a 201. So I've just got to find them. So down here, yeah, we're gonna. I'm just gonna double click on that. That's just gonna be easier at the moment. So it's saying this, is it this one? Let's have a look. I can't even scroll up here, holy hell. So this is the requirement location 1, and this is the project location 1. So going over here, so project location 1, that's going to be a 403. And then the project 2 should be fine. And then the requirement 1, it should be a 403. And then I'll go back here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear everything. We're going to boot that back up. And the instant I get an F, I'm going to jump on it because I can't at the moment scroll. It's just going to make life difficult. Boom. All right, cool. So we've got a 403 for requirement 1. Oh yeah, yep, that makes sense. So copy that, gonna move over here, do this, do that, do that. This will be for the team leader. But yeah, that's definitely a 403 because user doesn't have access to requirement 1. This one, requirement 1, yep, 403. So we've already got it there. So we've just done that one. And then for this one, request for change to task 4 is giving us a 404. I need to jump into the front end. This is production. I'm just going to close that. I'm going to find all the objects that we have. We've got our request for change here. I need to use my keyboard to scoot down here. We need to click on this one. So it's a 2 that we want. All right. So I'm going to go over here. We're going to copy this. I'm going to move over here. We're just going to do this. We're going to do this. This is for the team leader. I am definitely going to say that should be a 2. So we'll just update an existing card. That should be perfectly fine. And then we're going to run it again. Once again, I'm going to Control C just to escape out of it because if we come across it again, it's just easier. All right, this one's taking a little while. You okay, Socks? You're like, no. Alright, so Patty. Alright. this is looking good. All right, cool. All unit tests now running. So now we've got it for admin, now we've got it for team leader. We'll do one for read-only user, so we'll get like a bunch of 403s in there and so forth like that. But that can be done on another day and so forth like that. We do have a ticket to actually create the delete permissions and also check those too. So we will be setting that up shortly, but what I'll need to do is create another fixture. So I'll load in the base fixture and I'll just shove in a lot of data in there. And I'll be like, all right, cool. These are the set bits of data and we need to sort of, sort of figure that one out. All right, so git status, we've got a bunch of little changes. We're going to go git add. We're going to go GitHub in there. We're going to go git add py project toml. We're going to go git status. We're going to go git commit update minimum Python version to 3.10 and implement child permission checks. So we'll push that one as a separate thing, and then we'll git add everything else, and then we'll git commit, and then we'll unit tests for team leader and improvements. To that one's gonna fail. I should have pushed everything in. Yeah, I should have pushed everything in, damn it. No problem. So yeah, it's 032 is a redesign of a lot of NearBeach. It's going to be great because there's a lot I've learned, there's a lot of mistakes I've made, and I've learned from them, and they're just haunting me forever. It'd be good to actually finally be able to go, all right, cool, this is how it's going to work. So yeah, have the permissions as generic as possible, have it so that we could make it more generic. Yeah. Oh, I can't use the mouse wheel. Damn it. All right. I did it again. My brain, it's just like not braining at the moment. It's unbraining. So as you can see in here, we'll have like customer lists, sprint lists, and all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm just wondering how I can potentially pass a lot of that information into the back. Like, I need to redesign this, but considering these are now all the endpoints, here they are. Some of them will be very generic, like these destination and location ones. We'll have user permissions, we'll have, yeah, the sprint stuff. Yeah, it might be one of those sort of cases where I take this and extract the information I need, and then it just goes level by level by level. Yeah, all right. I've got a lot to plan. Like, we've got requests for change, and then we've got the IDs in here, and I'm like, oh, all right, how do I pass through destination? And I could make those generic and then, because yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to do, because I can create a decorator, pass through what object I'm looking at, and then pass that information down further and further and further. Yeah. Yeah, it's something I've just got to design. All right, so the good news is I think we've met the minimum requirements. Well, we've sort of, we're there. We're now there when dealing with NearBeach, in the sense that 031. Most of the things are wrapped up now. So yeah, from this particular point, we will be continuing on with the API and so forth like that, because we'll need to actually, we might as well create it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there's not too many changes between 31 and 32. What else will there be? Yeah, we'll have the API. I'm gonna start redesigning everything. Permissions are now on there for the redesign. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. So yeah. So I'm just going through everything in my head at the moment. And what I want to do. Because 032 will minimum take me 7 months. It's probably going to take me 9 to a year. I'm hoping not. I'm absolutely hoping not. Because yeah, I remember 0.30 took ages. Can't scroll. This is going on a while. Yeah, 0.3030. No, that's not. That's not what we wanted. Back when I was doing bigger releases instead of smaller releases. Here we go. That's when it came out. I had, here we go. 7 months. It took me 7 months. However, that was me focusing on a lot of bug fixes and stuff like that. We have luckily got somewhat stable of how we want this system to interact. Yeah, it's just mainly the API got to be fleshed out a lot more. Like, it's got to be fleshed out to the whole thing. But once again, I'll be doing that for 31 and 32. And hopefully there's only minimal changes between the two. What else is there? Database will be redesigned. Yeah, that's just a lot. Yeah, I'm hoping it doesn't take me that long. All right, let's do a release. I'm just gonna wait for Circle CI to tell me that everything's run perfectly fine. Oh, it did run that last one perfectly fine. All right, cool. Which it shouldn't take too. The back end ran perfectly fine. Everything was running. All right, cool. Let's do a release. So npm git status, npm audit. Notice, so I want to go sudo npm install global npm at 1162. We need my password, and then npm audit. Just doing that again. All right, cool. npm run prod. We're just I'm gonna run prod. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to remove the database. We've made some changes from the database. I just want to remove it. We need to manage migrate, and we need to manage load data. We're loading data from the NearBeach fixture, just the basic setups. Nothing too exciting. And then we're going to run the end-to-end tests. So I'm going to jump into the front end. I'm just going to hit stop and rerun for the bug, the server, and I'm going to go npm to run it, not unit tests, sorry, end-to-end tests. Hopefully the mobile Chrome stuff doesn't fail. We know it will. It always fails on the first time. Maybe not. There. I spoke too soon. Spoke way too soon. So yeah, that always happens. Not to worry. Alright, we're gonna go there. Who's on tonight? Theo. Alright, go. Sorry, I'm just seeing who to raid next. Alright, cool. Whilst this runs, alright, that is done. I'm going to bring that down to show you guys. So once again, it's just the Chrome that has failed. If we rerun this, it works perfectly fine, and I don't know why that's the case. It is something we will look at. So I'm gonna quit out of that. We're going to go git status. We're going to go git add. We're going to git add everything. And then we're going to git commit. And then we've got release 0.31.102, I think. Let's double check. Hub.docker. Oh, look at the search bar over there now. NearBeach. NearBeach. Tags. Yeah, 101. Release. Yep, there we go. Git push. Alright, I'm going to close a lot of these. We don't need all of that open anymore. What we want is github.com NearBeach. We also want nearbeach.utrack, where we keep all our issues. So I'm clicking on the issues. They should be fixed already. That one is fixed. These ones, we're moving on. All right, easy done. I'll just click in here. We'll just click on this. We'll do that. Compare and pull requests. We're just going to go bug fixes. We're just going to key that one in. Easy done. Oh, gotta use the freaking page down stuff. So yeah, unit tests and stuff like that. So I'm just going to notes. Python 3.10 is the minimum version for now, as Python is no longer that, create pull request. Now we know how it's going to run. It's going to run fine. I'm just going to go over here. We're just going to go page down. We're going to create release, and we're just going to release. So this will be 0.31.102. Create new tag. Oh, that's new. 0.31.102. Paste that in, generate release notes. Page down. All right. Cool. Let's go raid someone. All right, thank you very much everyone for being here tonight. It has been wonderful. Yeah, we got some stuff done. Well, we're at that point now where I'll probably have a couple of streams where I'll be researching different UI UX and this and that and so forth like that. So yeah, and thank you very much, Bashib Ozuk. I'm terribly sorry, I'm terrible with names. So yeah. We are going to raid Chinny Kian. He's currently building a game, so pretty cool. Yeah, anyway, thank you very much. I hope to see you guys on Friday. So yeah, thank you. And for those on YouTube, thank you very much for being here. Sadly, you can't join us with the raid, but don't forget to like and subscribe. It does actually really help the channel, so thank you very much.